installation environment. So again, I want to stress out this that I think we have discussed this with our OM and as well as our gateway. Equipment room is very important. The installation environment, it plays a very crucial role for the normal use of our equipment. So any other communication devices are similar. It needs a similar space that is a clean space and it is very necessary. So the precautions, again, we need that the room should have adequate ventilation and dryness, and it should be placed in the area where there is a direct sunlight, where there is no extreme conditions, that you should within the range of operating temperature 0 to 40 degrees Celsius and with a humidity of 0 to 90%. Yeah, to maintain the cleanliness of the room and minimize potential sources of interference, all types of sundries are not allowed to be placed within. Okay, sundries refers to any small objects such as those metal objects, screws, batteries, yeah, any other small items. Then we avoid installing in areas with a lot of vibration, dust, or water and oil contact. Then we need to stay away from radio or any cell phone antennas that with electric welding machine and any high frequency machines. Next one is we need to provide a reliable ground wire system and the impedance to the ground must be less than or equal to 3 ohms. The equipment grounding should comply with the grounding standards outlined in this notice and it should be grounded separately and thoroughly. So it is very necessary that you need to use the ground terminal in our equipment and use the suitable grounding system for the equipment. Then, last but not the least, you need to check whether the power supply is within the range of 100 volts to 240 volts. This is to prevent abnormal operation of the equipment. So it is very necessary. And next to the equipment room is about power supply. So yeah, this is a reliable and stable power supply is is a very important for normal operation of equipment. So you need to use 100 to 200 volts with 50 and 60 hertz. The power supply should be installed independently without to prevent unneeded power interruptions. So we need to have a more dependable and more stable communication when you make sure that the power supply is independent with other devices. The user must install a UPS AC stabilized power supply if the local power grid's voltage is not stable. So again, you need if you want to use UPS AC stabilized, do not use those power off switching. Instead, you need to use those online UPS that to make sure the equipment continues to function properly. Next to that is the wiring. So the quality of the call is really impacted by the cabling used in the system. So again, this is also very high significant with regards to wiring. So before wiring, you need to make sure that you are using standard cabinet with an installation distance of 1 U from any other equipment. This is to allow heat dissipation. And when wiring, you need to make sure that the system is power off. Because otherwise, if there are some miswiring, it will cause any issues or system malfunction. Then, you need to avoid AC noise interference. So do not connect the telephone line in parallel with the AC power supply to the computer supply or any other cables. Or you can share with the same power socket. So if this is very close to these lines, it should be insulated. So we can use STP, the shielded twisted pair, or use a conductive adhesive tape. When performing a high voltage protection, so new rack has the patch panel 2400 for 24 ports, and we have the patch panel for 4800 for the 48 ports. So this one is make sure that in lighting with the lighting protection distribution frame, the wire should be about 20 cm. Next one is you need to check all the lines, including the external and extension lines. So make sure that the line conditions, you need to know if what are the line conditions. So first, the analog external lines. So PSN direct line, so it has no other terminals connecting to that or any dialer. So because for any customer issues, usually it is caused by external lines. So we need to make sure that the external port of the equipment to other terminals need to be tested. So as much as possible, we need to avoid using dialers. Access to analog extension lines. So, if you're using a patch panels or just simply using a shielded pair by your own, um, you need to check whether the wiring to the distribution frame is standardized. So you can make appropriate adjustments or rewiring to that one. Then the line connections, make sure that there is no reconnected junction box in the middle of the line. So as much as possible, try not to use it. Okay, next for regards to the wiring, this is just an additional recommendation. You need to make sure that all cables, including the power, network, extension, should be neatly placed and as much as possible secure using a nylon cable ties. Then all lines are well marked. So this is for future maintenance. So you don't have to plug out and plug in because you don't know there is no marking. So as much as possible, you need to mark that using an oil-based marker so that to mark it more neatly and directly for the cable. Then make sure that the maximum line length for analog phone from analog to the MX gateway is 3 kilometers using a standard. So do not go beyond that. So with 3 kilometers, this using a standard wire diameter of 0.5 mm. Yeah, this is how to install the distribution panel. Connect with the RG45 ports. This is the distribution panel here. So we need to have at least 20 cm cable. And yeah, this is the from the device connected to that one. And the output here is the RG11 ports. So as you can see here on the right side of the patch panel 2400 or patch panel 4800. So these are the RG11 ports. This is RG45 coming from the device connected to the patch panel. So the grounding is very much important also because you need to have a consistent and a reliable grounding system. The quality of the calls is greatly impacted by proper grounding. So usually there are some noise, hum noise, usually causing from the interference and for the grounding issues. Then, of course, this is to protect the safety of your staff or your technical engineers. So what are the grounding rules? This is the same for any other equipment, communication equipment. The ground resistance must not be greater than 3 ohms. So if the isolation environment do not have a grounding conditions, so we advise to nail a steel nails on the solid wall or ground as a temporary grounding source. So if we have this is a cable, grounding cable, you can connect that to the grounding terminal and connect that to the proper grounding system. Yeah, this is the pin specs for MX60 and MX120G. So this is the RG45. And these are the RG11 pairs. So each lines on the RG45 to be separated into 4 pair line sequence. So this is the line sequence. 1 and 2 is the first pair. Second pair is for the number 3, pin 3 and 6. The third pair is 4 and 5. And the last pair, the fourth pair is 7 and 8. So this is the orientation for the pin specifications. Yeah, this is just example of good installation. Yeah, so also this one. And this is for the proper power source. And of course, for the grounding installation. Yeah, so yeah, if you have MX8G, you just connect to the company network, connect that, then connect the power adapter, then connect the grounding, then connect the FX support to the PSTN line, then FXS ports connect to analog phone. So after that, you can turn on your device, then check the status. So once it's running normally and if registration is successful, both of these power and STU LED turns to steady green. And if link is up, it's blinking green. And again, if it's analog extension, steady green for the analog extension is in use. And if analog trunk is in use, it's steady yellow. So when you want to connect to the administration computer, need to make sure that your computer is in the same network segment for our device. Say for example, the MX8G, the default IP address is 192.168.2.218. So your PC can be used 2.219. So after which you can connect already to your device. So now the question is how to find the IP address of the MX gateway. So if you have your FXS port, you can simply connect the analog phone, then dial the hash hash, and you can get the IP address. Then another method is to use our Rack Finder software. You can double click and allow it to run the application. Then click refresh, and after that, you can see the MAC address and the IP address of your model. So, yeah,